Hey guys, welcome to day 15 of the New Testament in 90 days. Today we get to start week 3. We also get to start reading through the book of Luke. And so the New Testament starts with 4 different books, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. All 4 of them give varying accounts of Jesus's life. And this is the 3rd in the series. So what I wanted to do before we jump into the section of text that stuck out to me this week and why, I wanted to share with you a little bit of extra information about Luke as a person so you have a good understanding of why he was writing and who he was writing to. And so Luke was a Gentile. So what that means is that he just wasn't Jewish. So the majority of the Bible was written by Jewish people, and Luke was not one of them. But Luke was also a doctor, so highly educated. And what I thought would be good is to just read the first 4 verses of the book of Luke, and then I'll kind of explain why. So the first 4 verses say this: "Many people have set out to write accounts about the events that have been fulfilled among us. They used the eyewitness reports circulating among us from the early disciples. Having carefully investigated everything from the beginning, I also have decided to write a careful account for you, most honorable Theophilus, so you can be certain of the truth of everything you were taught." So again, very educated man. He would not have been one of the 12 disciples that were following closely with Jesus, but he would have been alive at that time. So he could go around and have conversations about what was happening. I'm sure he heard news about, maybe he even saw things while he was alive, but he's going around like a doctor, like a researcher would, and he's compiling this data. And then he is writing it in a way so that people can be certain that what they have learned about Jesus is true. And so I love that. The other thing I love, so in my study Bible, it has a little extra information on those first 4 verses. And this is what it says. Luke begins his gospel with a formal preface in the style of the best Greek writers of his day. These 4 verses are some of the finest literary Greek in the New Testament. So again, highly educated, very skilled in writing, skilled with words. So just want to give that little background information. I think sometimes we look at the Bible and we see that there are a lot of uneducated people in the Bible. And so it might lead us to question a lot of what's being said because, well, they're not even that educated. Do they really even know what they're saying? Are they just making this stuff up? But Luke is highly educated, and he's saying you can be sure that what is in here is the truth. And so I just wanted to lead with that. I thought that was really important. So the part that really stuck out to me is in the first chapter, Luke gives an elaborate account of when an angel, Gabriel, comes down to 2 different people and tells them each that they're going to have a baby. So the first person he comes to is Zechariah. And he tells Zechariah, hey, your wife is going to have a baby. And this is a miraculous account because his wife is old. He's old. She's old. The ship has sailed, if you will. And then the next time, 6 months later, the angel comes back and he goes to a young girl named Mary and says, Mary, you're going to have a baby as well. And this is miraculous because she is a virgin, and we all know how babies are made. So that's not going to work out that way. So it's a miracle. So that's what happens in Luke 1. But what stuck out to me was the response when each of these 2 people got this miraculous news. Zechariah said to the angel, how can I be sure that this will happen? I'm an old man now, and my wife is also well along in years. It's a very skeptical response. Are you crazy? Do you know how this works? Like, how can I be sure? And Mary's response is, I'm the Lord's servant. May everything you have said about me come true. It's confidence, okay? Now, the interesting thing about this is Zechariah is old. He's got a lot of life behind him. And Mary is a young girl, not a whole lot of life behind her. It reminds me of like when a child, like if you have children, you've been around children, they just will believe anything that you say, right? But once we get older and we kind of understand how the world works, understand, how people work, and we become a little more grown, then we lose that instant belief. Some of that's okay, but some of it, Jesus says that we should come to him like a little child. We've talked about that in the past. And so I just think this gives a great illustration. So what happens is that after Zechariah responds to Gabriel in this way, this like, what, you're crazy kind of a way, he actually becomes mute. So for 9 months, from the time he gets this news until his baby is born, he cannot speak as a consequence to his unbelief. And what's interesting is Mary actually goes to see Zechariah and his wife Elizabeth. And when Elizabeth sees Mary, she says to Mary, "You are blessed because you believed that the Lord would do what he said." And so just again, really nailing that point home, that when we read these words and we believe what they say, even if we don't understand, even if it seems so crazy and far-fetched, that we are blessed when we believe. And so I just wanted to share that with you as we start reading through the book of Luke. I hope that gives you something, a little bit of something to think about, to chew on over the next few days. If you have any questions about what we talked about today, please leave a comment or shoot me a message. And if I don't hear from you today, I will definitely see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.